This is the second video. The first was a little bit of an introduction of what I have gone through, what I had gone through at the very beginning of Pseudotumor Cerebri. This being the second video as to the actual beginnings of my tribulations. I was actually diagnosed by sort of chance, believe it or not. I went to an ophthalmologist appointment, and this was just a simple checkup. The checkup was because genetically, that's not the proper word, but I had only had partial left eye vision since birth. That's another story. But I was told my entire life to go to ophthalmological appointments just to make sure that my vision stayed the same. So here I, was happily go lucky going to another test. I hadn't gone for a revision in several years. And I went to a new ophthalmologist for me who asked me point blank, what is going on with your right eye? And I looked at him and I thought he meant my left eye. And I said, oh, you mean my left eye? No, your right eye. Your optic nerve is very swollen. And I looked at him and I smiled and I said, I really think you mean the left eye. And he proceeded to ask me a series of questions. And he asked about whether I had had glaucoma on my right eye, whether I had had cataracts, whether I had had any issues in my right eye, to which I kept smiling, thinking he really must have his eyes crossed. And I proceeded to say, no issues on my right eye. My right eye is actually very well, thank you. He looked quite concerned. I gave no second thought to this. What do they say? Ignorance is bliss. And he proceeded to say, well, I would like you to go home and I would like you to call your parents and ask them if you have had any history of any issues on your right eye. And then he said, I would like you to call me back. And I went home. I do remember calling my parents and I did not want to worry them, so I just said, hey, any issues on my right eye? And immediately my parents asked why. And I said, I'm just asking. And my parents said, no issues on your right eye. Your right eye is perfectly fine. So I continued my life. I again did know I was having very bad headaches, but again I thought it was due to stress. And I kept hearing this ringing sounds in my ears, which later I found out them to be called tinnitus. But I was just annoyed by the whole thing. Never thought anything more about it. And about 3 months later, and mind you, at that time I had graduated from college, I had gotten married, and I had moved. So this ophthalmologist actually tracked me down, which is, to me, as far as I know in medical life, is quite rare. He tracked me down and he called me and said, what did your parents say? And I looked at him and over the phone, I thought to myself, my parents said there was nothing wrong with my right eye. And he said, okay, I need you to write down this telephone number. You are going to be going to a neuro-ophthalmologist who's a specialist in optic nerves. He is at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. He's top in his field. Make the first appointment you're able to. Tell them I've sent you and tell them it's very important. And I thought to myself, what's the hurry? But, I said, okay. And I will never forget his parting words before I hung up were, I'm going to call you tomorrow to make sure you have made this appointment. Because what you don't understand is that before you left, when I saw you last time, I was ready to send you down to our emergency room to take you into the OR and have surgery performed on your right eye. I found that very strange. I found that a little alarming. But again, I didn't worry too much. I didn't think much of it. And off I went. I did call. I did make the appointment. I remember when I had talked to the ophthalmologist, it must have been during the summer. And the first appointment I was able to get with the new ophthalmologist was in October. It was actually Columbus Day, October 12th. I'll never forget that day because it was the first day I heard the term Pseudotumor Cerebri. I was not diagnosed that day because I needed to undergo, as you know, some testing. But it was the first day I heard the term. My ophthalmologist did call back 2 days later to make sure I had made the appointment, and he again reinforced that I must go to the appointment and that I must follow through. So this was the beginning of my history in Pseudotumor Cerebri. And I need to stop now because my voice is starting to go. This is not pseudotumor. This is my other condition. This is the myasthenia gravis, and I'm getting tired. But I did want to give an introduction to what led up to my diagnosing. And then the next video, my third video, that will tell you the big story of my first appointment at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital when that led to my diagnosing and what happened thereafter. Thank you so much for listening. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I hope this leads to some eye-openings for you. I hope this, me sharing my experience, helps you in some way. Thank you.